split-second decisions are so often what decides elite sport. On a roasting hot day in Saransk, Carlos Sanchez's impulsive use of the arm to block a goal-bound shot ultimately cost his side immensely in an engrossing fixture that saw Japan upset 10-man Colombia. To take revenge for their 4-1 humping 4 years ago. In the end it was a result that places Colombia in trouble, having begun the tournament as the team fancied to top the fascinating clash of cultures that is Group H. And while circumstances dictated that they didn't outplay Japan, they matched them at times when short-handed, showing immense character and cool heads after former Aston Villa man Sanchez had lost his receiving a red card for deliberate handball in the opening minutes. It was as bad a start as Jose Pekerman, the wily veteran coach of the Cafeteros, could have hoped for. Sometimes passion clouds the mind, and with tens of thousands of Colombians making the long trip to Russia to support their team and their triumphant national anthem still ringing in his ears, Sanchez acted with his heart, not his head. And then his hand. A goal-bound shot from Shinji Kagawa was deflected wide by Sanchez's upper arm and a penalty awarded. The resultant red card condemned Colombia to 85 minutes of 10 versus 11, a punishing task against an opponent with the industry and spark of Japan. World Cup 2018. 5 things we learned from Colombia versus Japan. Kagawa converted from the spot and the uphill task got steeper, but in many ways it leveled the sides. At full strength, albeit with James Rodriguez only fit for a place on the bench, Colombia could reasonably be expected to overpower the Samurai Blue, but with James watching on from the sidelines and Sanchez from the dressing room, Japan knew they had their shot. They dominated possession, and particularly so in the second half, where their playmakers Takashi Inu and Kagawa could pick up the ball in advanced positions. Pekerman had his side playing well enough that, at times, you mightn't have known they were a man short, but as the game wore on the Japanese were able to make it count, creating more chances and finding Yu Osako a more potent spearhead than he had appeared in recent games. Colombia could barely have had a worse start. Reuters, as frustrating as it was for Colombia to go behind and a man down so early, they rallied impressively and would equalize through Juan Fernando Quintero. The former Wonder Kid's career had gone so badly off the rails 2 years ago that he was considering retirement, but he has enjoyed something of a renaissance since returning to South America with Independiente de Medellin in his homeland. And now River Plate in Argentina. His goal, a free kick snuck under the Japanese wall and inside the post, was a stroke of genius that only ever comes from a player with confidence in his ability. Now that his belief is restored, Quintero could prove a potent weapon for the Colombians, and they will need that if they are to qualify after suffering a defeat to what widely were considered to be the weakest side in the group. Kagawa slotted the early opener, AFP/Getty Images. Pekerman called on 2014 Golden Boot winner James Rodriguez with half an hour to go, placing the fate of a nation in his hands. But Japan only came on more strongly and eventually got the goal their dominance had probably merited, Osako heading home from Ksuki Honda's corner as David Ospina hesitated to come for the ball like a nervous traveler in the queue at passport control. Japan celebrated a famous win. AP Carlos Bacca was thrown into the mix to try and add extra potency to Colombia's attack, but Japan managed the game well, creating more chances than their desperate rivals as the closing stages petered out. Quintero's goal was a stroke of genius that shows the power of instinct, but Sanchez's nanosecond of irrationality cost Colombia immensely in their opening game. The knockout stages are not out of the question for the Colombians, who showed enough to be positive about in a difficult situation. But in a tough-looking group things just got a lot more difficult. They will need a hand from Poland and Senegal, but never from Carlos Sanchez. Follow the Independent Sport on Instagram here, for all of the best images, videos and stories from around the sporting world.